Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 2 for Key Game Picks. Before we get into those picks, quick thoughts on week number 1 as the first week of the regular season is in the books. If you're a Patriots fan, I wouldn't be worried so much. Now, I know the media really had a lot of questions during that game in which Kansas City actually outplayed them in the second half of that game. Yes, they probably have some questions regarding their defense, but really, if there's one thing that the Patriots will always have, they'll always have their offense. Now, I wouldn't worry so much about it. I mean, look, for a couple of reasons. Number one, they play in the AFC East. It's a weak division. No one's going to stop the Patriots in their own division. I don't expect that to happen. Number two, knowing Bill Belichick and Tom Brady all these years, anybody who follows the Patriots, you know they were always going to have a different game plan no matter what. You cannot count the Patriots out. This is a team you cannot take lightly here because they know how to win. And look, I mean, any talks of an undefeated season for a Patriot fan right now, throw that out the window, please. I mean, if you're a fan, you all you care about is a Lombardi Trophy. That's that your team should be concerned about more than anything else. As far as other things that went on the news, now obviously Ezekiel Elliott coming back for the Dallas Cowboys and court orders where is holding off his suspension. No word yet on what the NFL is going to do about that, but he played last Sunday and basically was a factor in they really beat up the Giants. Now last week, I mean, one thing about my videos here, when I post them up, I mean, keep in mind that it does get in the ways of what the next few days will be as far as NFL news. So, I mean, I lost that pick. I originally picked the Giants. So, obviously that is a lost pick here. And if anybody is curious about it, I mean, I went 2 for 2 last week on my key game picks. But as far as my other picks goes, that will be posted up on my blog. Well, as far as anything else, I mean, the Green Bay Seattle game was actually kind of a interesting game, and I'm not saying that it was a good game. A lot of it deals with both teams really. I mean, they're picked to be Super Bowl contenders this year. Both teams didn't seem like they played a Super Bowl mentality type of game between each other. I mean, both these teams have Achilles heels. Seattle's offensive line really is not as good as I thought. Same thing goes for Green Bay's offense. I mean, their offense is really a lot of questions as far as their defense goes, but really they did a number on the Seahawks. Now, a lot of things were pretty much expected. I didn't really see much. I mean, the first few weeks of the NFL season, it's going to be unpredictable, especially when it comes to my picks, because really the season just started and well, we don't know what's going to happen the whole ways. I mean, it might take maybe up to week 5 or week 6 before we have a clear picture of who may be contenders or pretenders. Anyways, let's get into week number two's picks here. All right, let's begin with key game number 1. It is the New England Patriots at the New Orleans Saints. Now, despite New England's loss last week, they're still a heavy favorite in this game, 6.5, which I agree with. The Saints played terribly last week. Obviously, the Adrian Peterson experiment, I think, really has blown up in Sean Payton's face. He didn't really get the ball all that much in that Monday night game against his former team, the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings really blew them out in that game. And that, to me, that tells you that this Saints team really is not that good. They're really not a good team. They haven't been good since the last time they made the playoffs, which was which is I think now 4 years ago. But if you look at it from a standpoint right now, I mean, this is a must-win game now for New Orleans. Otherwise, you go 0-2, and now you're going to fall further behind in the NFC South. For the Patriots' sake, I mean, I wouldn't worry so much of this game. Even if somehow they were to lose this game, I mean, they would get out of the cellar much faster than the Saints would. Now, obviously, their offense isn't. The New England's offense is really the key in this one. Their defense, they probably don't have to play all that well. Now, I know their last time they played in New Orleans was in 2009, and they got blown out on a Monday night. But this is not the same Saints team like that was during that time. And I expect the New England Patriots to win and win big here. That's why you have to go with the New England Patriots here. New Orleans offense, they're not in sync. Their defense is bad. It's going to be a cruel home opener for the Saints. I expect New England to blow out the Saints in this one. This game won't even be close here. You got to go with the Patriots over the Saints. Key game number 2, one of the late games. It's the Dallas Cowboys at the Denver Broncos. Dallas with a huge win last week against the Giants. Well, part to that is they had Ezekiel Elliott. He was not suspended thanks to court. And their offense really was fantastic. Defense-wise, they were pretty average, but it was good. It was good enough to really put a lot of pressure on Eli Manning. Besides, the Giants their offensive line is really terrible, and their running game isn't all that great. But this game against Denver, I don't know if I want to say Denver on Monday night against the Chargers was that impressive. They only won by a field goal. Trevor Siemian played very well in the first half of that game, but then for some reason in the second half, he really struggled. And especially one of those turnovers he had was a pick six. And this is a game, really, it's going to be a very close game here. Dallas is favored by 2 points in this game. It's a tough call here. I mean, Denver's defense is almost evenly as matched as Dallas's. I should say Denver's offense is evenly as matched as Dallas's offense. But obviously, Dallas's offense with a good running game, they have a much better running game than Denver does. And Trevor Siemian, I mean, he's trying to make a statement that he's the quarterback and not Brock Osweiler. But I just think the Cowboys' offense is going to be too much in this game for Denver to handle. That's why I'm picking the Dallas Cowboys here. I think the Cowboys, this is going to be a much closer game than they had last week against the Giants. Denver, same thing for Denver. They're going to be in another close game like they were against the Chargers last week, and I expect it to be close. I think Dallas pulls it out by a field goal here. Dallas is 2 points favored in this one, and I do agree with that. The Dallas Cowboys over the Denver Broncos. Key game number 3, the Sunday night game, the Green Bay Packers at the Atlanta Falcons, a rematch of last year's NFC Championship. Atlanta's actually favored in this game by 2.5. That is probably going to be a little bit lower. Atlanta did not look all that impressive last week against the Bears. And Green Bay's offense and defense, they weren't that impressive either. So that's why the number will probably be a lot more lower, because the way both teams played last week, they're as evenly as matched as they can be. Now, Atlanta's got the home field as they opened up their new stadium. The home field probably will play a factor in this one, and I expect a close game here. Green Bay's offense, they might have a good time with Atlanta's defense. Atlanta's defense really did not play all that well last week. I mean, Atlanta had to come from behind to beat the Bears, and that really should not have been the case. Atlanta should have blown them out, and they didn't. Matt Ryan and their offense really have to get it going here, and especially the running game. Running game is key in this game to keep Green Bay's defense on the field for a long time, because if you give the ball to Aaron Rodgers, he's gonna really shred that Atlanta defense. It's a close game here, tough pick here. But I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons here. Julio Jones has got to be the difference maker in this game, and I think he will be. If they keep Green Bay's defense on the field for a long time with a power running game, I think Atlanta wins this one by a field goal here. This is why I'm going with Atlanta in this one. This is not a sure pick here because Green Bay, they're trying to get back to the winning ways in here, and they probably want a sense of revenge against the Atlanta Falcons from last year's championship game. But I'm going to pick the Falcons here. I think the Falcons' power running will make the difference in this one. I'm going to pick the Falcons over the Green Bay Packers. And finally, key game number 4, the Monday night game, the Detroit Lions at the New York Giants. For the Giants, this is kind of must-win now. Even though it's early in the season, but I think if you go to an 0-2 seller, it might be a tough climb out of there, especially when your offense is really struggling. Eli Manning really was sacked a lot in that game last week against the Cowboys. The Lions, on the other hand, Matthew Stafford, he didn't play all that well in the first half, but in the second half, it took a second-half effort to come back to beat the Cardinals. Both teams are about as evenly matched, but the Giants are favored by 3.5 here. It's another tough game, and it should be a good one this Monday night here. Obviously, offenses are going to be key because both teams' defenses are not really all that good. And offense is going to be the key. But the New York, and also at the same time, too, Odell Beckham is going to be questionable for this game as well. And I don't know if he'll play in this game, but Giants are favored by 3.5, as I said before. I'm going to pick the Giants here. I think their offense is if I look at it, because both teams are evenly matched, but I think in this game alone, the Giants' offense is a little bit better than the Lions' offense as it is. Both defenses are evenly matched. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game here. I think it is, but I think the Giants win in this one. They'll probably win by a touchdown here. So we could expect a shootout in this one here. And I'm going to pick the Giants here. Giants over the Lions. All right, that wraps up my picks for week number 2 for my 4 key games. For all of my NFL picks for week number 2, go to thesportblog.blogspot.com for all of them. And until then, I will see you all next week when I talk about my picks for week number 3. Until then, take care and enjoy your football weekend.